Liverpool are set to sign one of Europe's most elite talents in Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen, and in this video we're going to be breaking down the impact that he could have on this Liverpool side and how he could fix Liverpool's biggest problem for next season. Now, if you are unfamiliar with Florian Wirtz, let me give you a little bit more about him. He's a 22-year-old German playmaker who currently applies his trade for Bayer Leverkusen. He has 22 goals and assists for Bayer Leverkusen this season, which is a phenomenal return for a 22-year-old attacking midfielder. He averages 2.6 successful dribbles per 90, and to put that into context for Liverpool fans, Salah averages 1.5. Now, of course, leagues need to be taken into consideration, and the quality of opposition needs to be put into context, but nevertheless 2.6 successful dribbles for an attacking midfielder is pretty sensational, and it's one of his real party pieces, the ability to beat his opposition. And he has created 17 big chances for his team this season. As you can see from the heat map as well, he is all over the place. He is a central attacking midfielder with the ability to not only go forwards but also drop back a little bit deeper and really recycle possession, allowing it to go forwards. It's really dominating through this left-hand channel, but make no mistake about it, he can go towards the right. He plays across that front line and has the ability to really drop in and find those pockets of space. Absolutely perfect for this Liverpool outfit. As I mentioned just a second ago, one of Florian Wirtz's main party pieces, and one of the things that he really excels at, is the ability for him to beat an opposition player, to be able to go past them and open up channels of space. But his manipulation of the opposition is one of the greatest assets to his game. And what I mean by that is the ability for him to not only move himself into particular positions, but drag players along with him and then take the space that's been afforded beyond. And he does this in tandem with the strikers that he has at Bayer Leverkusen. For example, one of them might drop deep, which will bring through a couple of players, perhaps a defender. Wirtz will find and take that space within an instant. The same can be said for the other way around. If Wirtz drops, he brings a midfielder with him, perhaps two. It opens up channels for extra players to then start to make runs. And I really started to think about Mo Salah and the way that he manipulates players as well. Due to Salah being so good and so potent all of the time, he naturally has players gravitate towards him. Now, this offers up different channels and different pockets of space for the likes of a Dominic Szoboszlai, for the likes of a Luis Diaz out on the far side, for the likes of a Cody Gakpo. And when this happens, Liverpool have to take that space. They have to take that momentum. And while they do it to a good extent, I think with Wirtz in the side, he has a fantastic ability to make that threat even greater. And likewise, when Wirtz brings players across, because players will naturally want to mark him, they'll naturally want to take him out of the game, it just naturally gravitates these players towards one side, giving Salah a little bit extra space. Wirtz's ability really does dictate the way that defenders will operate, and while to begin with he might find himself in a little bit more space, really quickly defenders will start to converge upon him, giving space to fellow Liverpool players. It's this isolation of space and manipulation of opposition players that can be seen here. This is in the game that Florian Wirtz and Bayer Leverkusen had against Borussia Mönchengladbach. As you can see, you've got the centre of the park with the ball. You've got Leverkusen winning the ball back, but let's take a note of where Florian Wirtz is. He's over here on this far side, and look at the amount of space that he's got between the Borussia Mönchengladbach right back and their centre back. He's isolated that space and he's picked it up. He's waiting for his team to then give him the ball so that he can make those driving runs. A key part of it is his willingness to run in beyond, to break those defensive lines. It's incredibly crucial, incredibly important in turning over the opposition defence. Granit Xhaka plays the ball over towards Wirtz, and then it's about him and his individual capabilities, his ability to have those 1v1 situations, and that's a key part of his game plan, and where I think he could really take this Liverpool side further a little bit more. The 1v1 situations, when we think about the likes of Dominic Szoboszlai, when we we think about those central midfield players, not really too many of them have the ability to beat 1v1 in the same way that Wirtz does. His real tenacity, his tenaciousness, and his sheer quality on the ball is absolutely phenomenal. He nutmegs the player right here to take himself past that defender and then put himself through onto goal. He then goes ahead and finishes in the bottom right hand corner, and it's absolutely sensational. A top quality goal, isolating that space, manipulating the defender, and then scoring himself a fantastic finish. It is just one singular example of the pure quality that this 22-year-old German star has. Now, I mentioned a problem that Liverpool would have for next season, and it sounds rather counterintuitive, but please do stay with me. Mo Salah had an amazing season, a fantastic campaign, gaining 47 goals and assists for Liverpool last season. In tandem with that, Luis Diaz gained 18, his best of the campaign, an absolutely fantastic return. But players like Dominik Szoboszlai, players like Cody Gakpo, while they are providing and while they are contributing, it was only these 5 players that contributed more than 10 goals and assists in this last campaign just gone. And that is a real indicator to me of where this Liverpool side is at. It is heavily Salah dependent, and sometimes there's nothing wrong with that. But when you will have the expectancy that these numbers will not necessarily plummet, they won't disappear, but they will definitely take a dip. I don't think anyone can expect that Salah is going to improve. I don't think anyone can expect that Salah is going to better the numbers that he's had last season, which means that the slack needs to be picked up. And this is where I think the big question mark is around Dominik Szoboszlai, and whether he has the ability to take those goals and bring them into his game, take those assists and bring those into his game. And that is where I think the big problem is for Liverpool. The natural drop-off that Salah will have from these incredible, astronomical numbers, and how this Liverpool side takes themselves to the next level. This is the area that I think it would really help. Liverpool have 28% of their attacks go through the centre of the pitch. This is in contrast to 35% being on the right and 37% being on the left. But 28% is still quite high, which means that they have a lot of attacks flow through the centre, and in particular flow through Dominik Szoboszlai. Now, of course, Alexis Mac Allister has had his impact, and Ryan Gravenberch does a fantastic job of shuffling that ball through midfield. But Szoboszlai, I think, could offer so very much more. And I'm not necessarily saying getting rid of him, but if you were to include Florian Wirtz in that position, I think he would do a lot more with the space that's been offered to him. 3 key parts of Szoboszlai's game that I think could be really improved, in contrast to Wirtz, are lined in front of you. You've got progressive passes. Szoboszlai averages 4.86 progressive passes per 90. Now, for an attacking midfielder, a central attacking midfielder, where the main idea of your role is to create, prove those passes, prevent those defenders from getting the ball off you, and making sure you're pushing it through the lines, Wirtz does that pretty sensationally. 6.63 progressive passes per 90. Successful take-ons, the key stat that I think separates Wirtz and Szoboszlai. 0.81 per 90, 2.89 for Florian Wirtz. And then, of course, you have this. Progressive passes received. We mentioned the idea of Wirtz finding those pockets of space. The idea of Salah dragging players away and making sure that there's space for his other teammates. Szoboszlai doesn't find it as much, with 4.55 progressive passes received, meaning he's not giving himself enough space, enough license to be able to receive the pass from his teammates, whereas Wirtz has 11.08. There are, of course, a number of different stats that are better in Wirtz's case in terms of Szoboszlai, and of course a couple that are in favour of Szoboszlai. But overall, I think Wirtz is the better creator. I think he has the better 1v1 capabilities, and his idea and real drive to find space and manipulate those defenders really will transform the way that Liverpool go forwards. Let's just take the idea of creating space and isolating space and making a moment for others and really run with it, especially when we're thinking about Dominik Szoboszlai and we're thinking about the ways that he could improve his game. Really, Liverpool have a number of different opportunities on the transition, especially from corners. They did a fantastic job of really isolating those transitional moments early on in the season, but later down the line they really struggled, and I think Dominik Szoboszlai struggled to really get himself into those pockets of space to make himself that little bit bit more dangerous. Here we have Wirtz in this particular situation. You've got Leverkusen at transitioning, you've got them attacking, you've got Gladbach, again in this situation, retreating back towards their own goal. But notice the positioning of Wirtz. He's going to receive a pass into the centre. He's just dropped off his striker, and that gives him the little bit of space to be able to receive the pass. Again, receiving those progressive passes, getting himself into those areas, into that real good pocket of space to be able to help progress the ball. He doesn't necessarily need to have the ball to help progress it, if that makes sense. His isolation of space and his understanding of the game is absolutely fantastic. As you can see, slowed down here just a touch, he's ready to receive that pass, and as that pass is played, he's just dropped off, and this gives him the time to then pick his head up and find a teammate, find a run, find a moment. And it's in this that he manages just to hit the ball with one singular touch. He doesn't take a touch, and it just drops over this defender's back foot into the path of his striking partner in Patrick Schick, and he allows him, with the deftness of touch, to be able to take it first time. Not only have you got the isolation of space, you've got the deftness of touch, the quality in his touch, and the ability to assist his team within a second's notice. It's absolutely first class, and again highlights another key area where I think Florian Wirtz could take this Liverpool side to a whole new level. Liverpool are champions. They have won the Premier League, and they have scored in nearly every single Premier League match that they have featured in. That means that teams are going to be aware of them, far more aware than they were last season. I think a lot of people took for granted the missing of Jurgen Klopp and the introduction of Arne Slot. But that won't be the case for next season, and what you could see is dropping back a little bit deeper. I think Arne Slot is already thinking about this. I think he's already preparing for this with the signings that he's looking to make, including this one in Florian Wirtz, and I think he's got an absolute master plan lined up. If you'd like to know a little bit more about that and a little bit more on the video that could come from that, let me know in the comment section below whether you'd like to see that. But when it comes to playing against those Premier League opposition and then dropping back a little bit deeper to try and stop Liverpool, try and stop Salah, you're going to see moments like this, close-knit banks of four, and at that moment, in those cases, you're going to need to open up those channels. You're going to need to open up those moments, and that's where Wirtz really does come in, not only in his picking of spaces, not only in his movement, but also in his movement in conjunction with the rest of his team. Salah drifting in field, looking for those moments as well. Wirtz running off of him, giving that option for that extra pass. Perhaps you have a 1v1 opportunity. The ability for Wirtz to take a player out of the game that isn't just Salah. A moment player that can take the game by the scruff of the neck and take a moment. The moment you've got a player out of the game, it gives you far more space, it gives you far more license to play, and it gives Liverpool so much more threat. And it's that threat that will carry them through and, in their hope, win them far more games. And it's in those moments, those key moments, when the opposition is trying to frustrate, when they're trying to be really nice and condensed, that you need a player like Florian Wirtz in the side to open up a channel, open up a moment, open up a pocket of space. And it needs to be a player that isn't Mo Salah, because Salah is a marked man. People understand what is going on with him, how he's going to play. But Wirtz is an unknown quantity in this Liverpool side, and having two players with those qualities is far better than having one. But in this particular moment, what have you got? You've got Dortmund being nice and compact, this good defensive line here from the back four. You've got midfielders ready to come and pressurize, attackers coming to pressurize to try and block out this moment. But in this particular example, we're going to be focusing on the main man himself, Florian Wirtz, and the movements that he does to really take himself away. Just really incremental movements, small adjustments, but things that make such a great big difference. So as he receives the pass, and look at his movement, he's moved just across from the left hand side of this Dortmund left back, and it's going to give himself the ability to receive this pass. The moment he receives this pass in the box, it is danger time for Dortmund. Wirtz drives forwards, cuts back, and it's incredibly crucial that he maintains composure and maintains control of that ball. Notice the panic that you've got from the Dortmund defenders, all flooding back to try and pressurize him. He cuts inside, and he managed to take one player out of the game. That is absolutely crucial, because the knock-on effect for that is these two really having a moment, having a time to go and pressurize him, and all of a sudden he's taken three players out of the game. without even really doing too much. In only taking out that one player, you've now taken 3. And automatically, what kind of a knock-on effect does that have? That gives your fellow teammate acres of space to work with. It then gives Wirtz the time to then play that pass. He plays it over to his teammate, who fires it across into the goal brilliantly, but it was all created due to that one singular moment, that piece of magic, that piece of brilliance that, as I said, has taken Leverkusen to a different level, but also could very well take Liverpool to that next level as well. Florian Wirtz really is that quality of player, and I think he could transform this Liverpool side. But of course, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. What do you make of Liverpool? What do you make of them possibly signing Florian Wirtz? And do you think it's a good signing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.